A new wall is being built in the global economy. It's not made of bricks and mortar, but of taxes and tariffs, and it stands squarely between the world's two largest economic superpowers, the United States and China. What does this new phase of the trade war actually mean? Before we dive in, please remember that this video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. My goal is to help you understand these concepts so you can make your own informed decisions. With that said, in this video, we are going to break down the essential pillars of this new US-China trade conflict. I will provide a clear framework that simplifies this subject, explaining what the new tariffs are, why they are being implemented, and the critical Chinese actions that form the context for this move. By the end, you'll have a clear understanding of the forces at play. Make sure you stay for the final point, where I'll cover the global ripple effects that could impact everyone. Let's begin with the specifics. The centerpiece of this recent development is a series of significant new tariffs announced by the Trump administration targeting key Chinese industries. Tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, for instance, are set to increase dramatically. Similar measures are being applied to other strategic sectors, including solar panels, advanced batteries, steel, aluminum, and certain medical supplies. This isn't a minor adjustment. It's a calculated and substantial escalation in the ongoing economic competition. These are not just random products. They represent the technological and industrial frontiers that both nations see as critical for future economic dominance. By placing a heavy tax on these specific imports, the goal is to make Chinese goods significantly more expensive in the American market, thereby encouraging consumers and companies to buy American-made alternatives instead. This is the foundation of the Great Tariff Wall. So, the next logical question is, why now? According to the Trump administration, the reasons are threefold, revolving around national security, fair trade, and domestic industry. First, let's look at national security and unfair trade practices, which are often linked in these discussions. The official position is that China's long-standing trade practices have given its companies an unfair advantage. This includes claims of intellectual property theft, where American designs and technologies are allegedly copied without permission, and significant government subsidies that allow Chinese companies to produce goods at a much lower cost than their international competitors. By artificially lowering their prices, these companies can flood the global market, making it nearly impossible for American and European firms to compete. The tariffs are presented as a corrective measure, a tool to level the playing field and penalize what the administration views as decades of rule-breaking in international trade. The national security argument extends from this, suggesting that over-reliance on a single foreign power, especially a strategic rival, for critical goods like batteries for the power grid or components for medical equipment, poses an unacceptable risk to the nation's stability and autonomy. The second stated reason is the goal of bringing manufacturing back to the United States. For decades, many American companies moved their production facilities overseas, primarily to China, to take advantage of lower labor costs. This led to a decline in the American manufacturing sector. The new economic policy aims to reverse this trend. The logic is straightforward. If Chinese imports become prohibitively expensive due to tariffs, American companies will have a powerful incentive to re-establish factories on US soil. This, in theory, would create jobs, rebuild industrial communities, and strengthen the domestic supply chain, making the country less vulnerable to global disruptions. This policy is a direct attempt to reshape global supply chains and influence corporate investment decisions on a massive scale. An understanding that strategic intent is often the key to making sense of complex economic policy. By the way, if you're finding this breakdown valuable and you appreciate this clear, in-depth approach, a quick click of the subscribe button below is the best way to let me know. It helps this channel continue to create helpful content just like this. Now let's move on to what is arguably the most crucial piece of context for these new tariffs. This American action did not occur in a vacuum. It's part of a back and forth, a geopolitical chess match. To understand the why behind the tariffs, we must look at the actions from China that prompted this response, specifically regarding a group of materials known as rare earth minerals. Rare earth minerals are a set of 17 chemical elements that, despite their name, are not necessarily rare. However, they are incredibly difficult and expensive to mine and process cleanly. These elements are the secret ingredient in countless modern technologies. They are in your smartphone, in the magnets of an electric vehicle's motor, in the guidance systems of missiles, and in the turbines of a wind farm. For years, China has strategically invested in and dominated the global market for these minerals. It currently controls the vast majority of both the mining and, more importantly, the processing of rare earths. This gives China enormous leverage. Recently, Beijing has signaled its willingness to use this leverage by implementing export controls on some of these critical materials and the technology to process them. This means China can restrict or even cut off the supply of these essential elements to other countries. From the perspective of the United States and its allies, this is a significant economic threat. Imagine a world where the production of everything from F-35 fighter jets to MRI machines could be throttled by a decision made in another country. The export controls on rare earth minerals were a clear signal that the supply chains for the green energy transition and advanced defense technology were vulnerable. Therefore, the new US tariffs, particularly those on electric vehicles and solar panels, can be seen as a direct countermove. It's an attempt to reduce dependency on Chinese supply chains and simultaneously build a domestic industry that is insulated from this exact type of geopolitical pressure. It's one power using its dominance in consumption, the tariff, to fight another power's dominance in production, the minerals. So, we've covered how the new tariffs are the primary tool of this new policy, and how the stated reasons from the US perspective are to counter unfair trade and rebuild industry. We've also seen how these actions are a direct response to China's strategic control over critical resources like rare earth minerals. As you can see, these ideas all work together to create a powerful feedback loop in the US-China trade war. To make this practical, here is your one assignment. This week, find one product that is directly affected by these tariffs, perhaps an electric vehicle, a solar panel, or even a basic steel product. Look up its current price in your country. Then, set a reminder to check that same price again in 3 to 6 months. See if you can observe the real-world impact of this high-level economic policy. I encourage you to share what you plan to track in the comments section below. The final question is, what is the potential global impact? This trade war isn't happening in a bubble. Other countries and multinational corporations are caught in the middle. Companies may be forced to choose sides, restructuring their supply chains to be either China-centric or US-centric. This could lead to a fracturing of the global economy, making goods more expensive for everyone as efficiencies are lost. Allied nations in Europe and Asia may also feel pressured to implement their own tariffs, leading to a potential cascade of protectionism worldwide. The era of seamless globalization we've known for the past 30 years may be fundamentally changing. If this is the kind of practical, detailed analysis that you find valuable, and you want to continue making sense of the complex world of finance and economics, the best way to support this channel and see future content is to subscribe. To do that, just click the subscribe button right below this video and be sure to turn on notifications. Thank you for your time and attention today, and I look forward to seeing you again.